Hello my fellow gamers out there. It is the end of 2024 and in this video I'm going to show you my top 10 retro and old school games that I played, reviewed and enjoyed the most in this year. Please note that this is not a rank list, the games are going to be in random order. If you're interested in the detailed review of the games mentioned in this video, you can find the links in the description. And now, let's do the quick introduction and let's start the list. My name is Mr. Zosta, welcome on my channel where I review great games. PARASITE was a big surprise for me, as I was expecting a Resident Evil clone, but as it turned out, it was a very good horror RPG that I enjoyed from the beginning to the very end. Would I recommend playing PARASITE, Eve? Absolutely. Do not miss this game if you like the genre. I'm not using scoring in my reviews, but this would get 9 out of 10, as every aspect of this game is just fantastic. The controls are good, the music and the sounds as well. The story and the atmosphere is also very good. The variety of the enemies and the different weapons and powers that you can use, all these combined with light RPG elements makes the game a very good experience even today. The only negative thing what I could say is that sometimes it is not clear where you need to go next. This is the only complaint I can say, nothing else. So, if you've not played PARASITE Eve yet, go ahead and try it, you're not going to regret it. I probably know what you are thinking right now. If you take a quick look at Wing Commander 3, at first glance this game looks like a very basic old school space shooter, which you would dismiss straight away as the graphics are dated, the videos are pixelated and it doesn't look very attractive at all. To be honest, I had the same feelings before I started to play it, but I wanted to play and experience it anyway, as I heard that this is a game with good story, and if the story is good and engaging, I don't mind the old school graphics. As it turned out, there are so much depth in this game that you would not even think of. Yes, the game shows its age here and there, and also there is one major thing which would raise the question, is this game even playable today? So what are those which I really enjoyed in the game? First of all, the story. If you've seen my other game reviews, I always say that I don't care how a game looks if I enjoy the story or the gameplay. I don't want to play a beautiful game with a bad story or with the gameplay that I do not enjoy. I think you and I can agree with this. And the story is good, there are some unexpected twists, the acting is also good. The branching conversations are really a good positive aspect of the game, they add a lot to the experience, as you can make decisions how to approach a conversation. This can be much more interesting than a predetermined story. I also enjoy the details which makes the gameplay much more deeper than an arcade shooter. You have to plan your strategy, which ship, which loadout, and also which wingman you are going to use. How you give commands to your wingman, how to use tactics to fly together. All these are making the game a real Space Force simulation. There are many other better space simulation games out there, that's sure. However, Wing Commander is a special game which had a huge impact 30 years ago when it had been released. If you'd like to experience a great story combined with leading your crew, planning tactics and strategy, you are probably going to enjoy Wing Commander 3. It is definitely shows its age, but we are talking about a game which is 3 decades old. If you can play the PC version with analog controllers, there is no major thing which would make your experience bad. But the PlayStation version is also playable, I played it, and the lack of analog controls was a downside, but I still had fun with the game, and I will definitely play the next game in the series. Call of Duty Big Red 1 has been released in 2005 by Activision, 3 years after Medal of Honor Frontline and 2 years after Rising Sun. All these are very similar Second World War FPS games. You could say that they are all the same, which is true in a way, but there are many differences between them. And if you enjoy these kind of games, you can play as many as you want. Before I started the game, I had a hope that the guys at Activision has been seen my review videos of both of the early Medal of Honor games before they started to work on this game, to avoid those issues which were plaguing those early Medal of Honor games. It seems that they did, and they made a great game. What the hell am I talking about here? So, let's see what I enjoyed in this game. First of all, the atmosphere is very good. I really enjoyed it. There were no annoying bugs or idiot squad mates or enemies. This is also a very positive aspect of the game. The hit detection is good. You can also use various vehicles and fight not just as a foot soldier. The fact is also cool that the Big Red 1 was a real squad. So, what are those things which are not really enjoyed in this game? There is no sprint option. This would be useful sometimes, however, it is not a major issue. Your squad mates are sometimes moving to your line of fire. It happened a few times and it just a bit annoying. There were a few occasions where the typical endless wave of enemies came out from nowhere and took position behind the machine gun until I figured out that I was supposed to do something else, but by that time I used a lot of ammo. So, should you play Call of Duty Big Red One? Well, if you're looking for a good second World War shooter from this era, definitely give a try to this game. You're going to fight through 14 well-designed levels with a good variety in scenery and combat options. I'm glad that I played this game, and I'm looking forward to play the next Call of Duty games. Obscure is a typical horror game which is not going to destroy you emotionally or going to make you really scared, but it has a fantastic atmosphere, some good jump scares, and is still a good game to play even today. What I enjoyed in Obscure that it is a light-weighted survival horror. The school setting, the laid-back atmosphere of the characters, and the story is just perfect if you want to play something creepy but not a game which has a really dark and disturbing story. Like when you just watch your favorite Friday the 13th movie on Halloween night. It is also good that you can finish the game in around 6 or 7 hours, and those hours are fun. The story itself is interesting, the atmosphere and the controls are also very good. Believe it or not, I found only one thing what could be better in the game, and this is just only a minor thing. Sometimes the camera is just not showing things from the right angle. This not really affected my gameplay or frustrated me, but this is a notable flaw of the game. So, should you play Obscure? Well, if you like what you see in this video, and you played Resident Evil-like games before, or just have a light-weighted survival horror, this game is for you. In my opinion, it has been aged very well. The story, the setting, and the atmosphere still holds up very good. And it has a sequel, but I'm definitely going to play, and I hope that it is as good as the first game was. Lunar Silver Star Story looks like a 16-bit RPG on the SNES or on the Sega Genesis. However, it has been released on the PS1, but oh boy, is this a great RPG. I'm so glad I played this one, and I cannot wait to play the sequel as well. Alright, let's see what I enjoyed in this game. First of all, you can save anywhere and anytime, which is a positive thing in my opinion. Also, there are no random encounters, you can see the enemies from far away. I also enjoyed this one. The enemies are not respawning in a dungeon if you leave the room and you go back while you explore the dungeon. They are only respawning if you leave the dungeon. I said a lot of positive things about the game, there must be some negative ones as well. Well, there are no serious issues with this game, there are only two things which I noted. As I mentioned, in the battle section, you cannot see the health of the enemies in combat, so you don't know who you should attack again. Also, you do not have a quest log or anything which would tell you where to go next. If you not play the game for a while, this can be an issue. However, as you cannot wander freely on the world map, you can figure out sooner or later, but a quest log or something would be cool. I don't think that I should say anything here, but here it goes. If you love 16-bit classic RPGs, with a good story, great characters, good humor, put this game on your backlog, you're not going to regret it. I had a great time in those 27 hours while I finished the game, and I'm really looking forward to playing the second game. Here we had another example of a great game which was good back in '99 and is still good today. I love tactical RPGs. I played so many of them, and Vandal Hearts was the next one on my backlog to clear, so I jumped in with high hopes, as I heard a lot of good things about this game. It is on many must-play lists, but it happened with me a few times that games from those lists did not really stick with me, and I abandoned them eventually. But what about Vandal Hearts? Is it still hold its values today? Is it still a good game which you have to play if you love this genre? So what are the positive things which I liked about the game? I really liked the clever level design, it made the game much more fun and interesting. The story itself is also good. The twists and unexpected events also makes the experience even better. The funny conversations between the characters and the good humor is also a bonus point for me. This is subjective, but for the difficulty was just perfect. If you like the more grindy or really challenging games, you might going to find this too easy, but it's still worth to play. So let's do the conclusion. Would I recommend playing Vandal Hearts today? I probably do not even have to say yes 100%. If you like tactical RPGs, go and play it straight away, now. This is the prime example when a good story and gameplay can ignore dated graphics and the few flaws which the game has. This is a classic title which was good when it has been released almost 30 years ago. 30 years ago? Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. Damn. Anyway, this game was good back then and it is a solid title even today. On the prime example, if I'm not starting my backlog quest, I would miss out this title, which would be a shame. I love the X-Files TV show. I love how Mulder and Scully have a different approach to the supernatural cases. Oh, and when I was 15, I had a really bad crush on Scully, but who's not? And now I have a chance to rescue her. I can be an FBI agent. I can work on a creepy case. What else I need? Oh, just a Friday night with Scully where she can show her gratitude because I saved her. Oh damn, I really carried the weight with this fantasy, but let's not waste any more time. Let's see what I like in this game. First of all, you really feel like that you are in an X-Files TV show. Investigating was fun, and generally being in the X-Files universe was also good. The actors are the same as in the TV show, which is a big bonus. They could do it with some random FBI agents and call the game X-Files, but that would ruin the experience. I enjoyed also playing with Agent Fillmore. The music and the atmosphere is also very good. So what are those things which I not liked in the game? Sometimes the game is too difficult, and you really need to walk through if you are not a hardcore adventure game veteran, like here. How am I supposed to know I have to climb that post? Okay, the cursor is there, but for myself, I wouldn't be able to figure it out. Also, the game is sometimes it's too difficult to find an item or a clue, which is required to advance the story. Okay, I get it, you have to think like an investigator, but sometimes it is not really obvious and logical where you're supposed to go next. And also, the action scene controls could be better. So, should you play this game? If you love classic adventures games, and especially X-Files, it is a must-play for you. The video quality shows its age, but for reason, it even added to the 90s feeling for me. So, grab a walkthrough, switch off the lights, and embark on an epic X-Files adventure. This is another example of why we should play old games that are still good. I had such a great time with Tunnel B1. The controls are good, the music and the sound effects as well. The graphics are fine, the light effects and the colorful lights are nice. There are a lot of different weapons and items which you can use, and this gives you a lot of options strategy-wise. The ammo health options are perfectly distributed throughout the levels. If you are following a good tactic in the game, I never felt that I run out of ammo health. You could think that this makes the game easy, but if you're not following the tactics, you are going to be killed quickly. Also, despite the complex levels, you never feel lost. There are junctions and side tunnels on the levels, but the map is very clear and it shows you where you need to destroy something, where are the color matching doors for each reactor, so you always know where you have to go next. So let's see what I don't like about Tunnel B1. First of all, that I have no clue what is happening. What is Tunnel B1? Where am I? And who am I? As I mentioned, the game is not a very basic arcade shooter where the story does not matter. Here it could add to the experience a lot. Regarding the viewpoint, sometimes you feel like a mouse. You are too close to the ground. I don't know what they try to achieve with this, maybe to show that the tunnel is really high, but because of this viewpoint and the size of the items in the tunnels, the game feels like a mouse shooter game. Also, has missed the small or final bosses in the game. Okay, there are sometimes a few enemies which are more difficult to kill than the rest of the enemies, but I wouldn't consider these are small bosses, or they are not as dangerous as they are difficult to kill. Also, difficulty in the later stages are getting way too high. It reaches a point where you really need to pay attention what are you doing and how are you going to do it. This could be frustrating for some, it was definitely frustrating for me. So would I recommend playing Tunnel B1? Yes, if you like shooting games where you need to plan a bit as well instead of just shoot mindlessly. As I mentioned in the intro, I had a great time with Tunnel B1. If you want to try a classic shooter game, give it a try. Yeah, that was a good scare. I love horror games and I wanted to play a good one for a quite while. And Alone in the Dark, the new nightmare, was on my backlog, so I decided to give it a go and see how good it is, how did it aged, and if the game worth playing it today. And of course, to find out if it is scary, well, the short answer is yes. It is a creepy game with a great setting, a huge manor, which will make you uneasy as you explore it. And I also like the story. The atmosphere is good. The thunderstorm, the dark manor, the caves, the sounds and the music are all very good. If you love Lovecraft vibes, you are going to love the story as well. I also enjoyed the detailed background story of the family and the island. The controls are okay, however, sometimes when you need to turn around quickly, that could be an issue, but it never really frustrated me. So what are those what I not really like about this game?
There are loading screens too often. When you enter a new area, each time around 10 seconds. Also when the viewpoint changes to a new screen, like now, there's a 1 second stutter in the game. It's a bit annoying, but all these are due to the limits of the systems what the game has been developed for back then. I say this is negative, but for real I don't know how else the developers could do this. The enemies are respawning. Or let's say new enemies are appearing where you already been before. And I never ran out of ammo, so this was not an issue. Medkit wise this is an issue, so this is slightly annoying. Now it is time for the final conclusion. Would I recommend playing this game today? Yes, if you love horror adventure games, this is a must play for you. I think it is aged very well, and I did not find anything throughout the game which made me feel that it is not worth playing today. I enjoyed my time throughout the game, and now it is cleared from my backlog.
Halo Combat Evolved was a game changer. Released in 2001 as the flagship title for the brand new Xbox console, it shook the gaming world. Critics and players loved it and gave the title revolutionary. But over 2 decades later, does it still deserve that legendary status? With a gripping storyline, fantasy premise, and gameplay that kept me hooked, there's no denying Halo is something special. But as time went on, how well has it aged? Does its strength still outweigh its flaws today? Playing Halo felt like stepping back into the golden era of gaming, but nostalgia isn't everything. Can it really stand out to modern standards? What I enjoyed in Halo? Well, a lot, but let's see them again in the shortlist. The premise and the atmosphere. Both are fantastic, and I think it is very unique. The story is also interesting. I intentionally not made a detailed story explanation in case if anyone did not played this game yet. The controls and the combat are both very good, which are the cornerstone of the FPS games. The option to drive different vehicles makes the game more interesting and varied. The music is also good, especially the main theme, I love it. The checkpoints are placed quite often, so if you die somewhere, you don't need to start again, way back on the level. And there are also no loading screens. I mean, between missions there are, but as you move through the level, you don't have to wait for a new area to load. The game does it in the background. This is a small, but good thing. Halo is a gem, but not a flawless gem. Nothing major issues here, but there are a few things that I noticed and I must note. The level design sometimes is not the best. There were quite a few times when I noticed that I wanted to see something different as I was fighting in a very similar setting for a long time, and it would be nice to see something else. Don't misunderstand me, there are a lot of variety in the levels here, but there are places which are dragging on far too long. Also, sometimes the navigation is not the best. There is no map, and sometimes the path where you have to go is a bit hidden, and you have to walk around to find where you're supposed to go. Maybe someone does not mind this, but I do not like when I spend my time walking around trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go next. Also, very minor thing, but there are no subtitle option in the game. I would like to have this option, as sometimes I play with the volume down, and in this case the cutscenes and some conversations is difficult to hear and understand. So, should you play Halo? In case if you missed it until now like me, and if you like FPS games, yes, give this game a try. It is still a very good game and something from this era which should not miss by anyone who want to explore great games from the past like myself. It is aged very well. Of course the graphics are from a different era, but if this really bothers you, there is the remastered version. So, if you not played it, give it a try, and if you did, Halo is always worth to revisit. I'm definitely going to play the second game and the rest in the Halo universe. I love dungeon crawlers, and I hate grinding. In the ETRIAN racing games, you do a lot of dungeon crawling and you do a lot of grinding, so why I enjoy this game so much? First of all, the mapping. It is so much fun. Even if you're skeptical, try it out, you are probably going to like it. Also, the very good variety in the characters and skills, you can build a lot of different teams to explore the depths. The level design is also very good, and when you are getting bored of the same setting, a new one would come. There's also a big variety in enemies, and the combat is also very good. There are many items to forge and equip on your characters. The music and the sound effects are very atmospheric. Let's see what are those things which are not really enjoy the game or it could be improved. First of all, I could enjoy the game with a bit less of grinding. Not a major complaint, but sometimes it is a bit too much. But this is basically the same in ETRIAN ODYSSEY games, so I got what I expected. Also, the general difficulty of the game could be a bit easier. I think in the later entries in the series you can have an easier difficulty mode, but in this case you cannot change this. Again, not a major complaint. If it would be too difficult or frustrating, I would not play and recommend this game. I don't want to be frustrated, I want to have fun. So, in conclusion, would I recommend playing ETRIAN ODYSSEY free? Yes! If you love dungeon crawlers, old school RPG vibes, great skills, good combat and fun map drawing, this game is for you. Not just this game, there are 3 entries on the Nintendo DS, I played the first 2 already, and there are 5 entries on the 3DS where the dungeon is in actual 3D. The game has better graphics, more options to do, so if you love this genre, you are looking at hundreds of hours to put into these games. I will definitely play the 3DS entries as well, as these games are always fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found some games to play. If you're not subscribed yet, now it is a great time to do so. Also, the YouTube algorithm has chosen a video for you. It is on the screen now, check it out. Thank you for being with me here today, and I'll see you in the next Backlog Quest video.